Alright, cool. It is currently 17 minutes past 3 a.m. actually, and I'm recording this. Actually, I wanted to talk about sexual immorality, and I actually feel led to talk about this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of you are experiencing or struggling, for better words, with lust and sexual immorality, and I know how it can be because something that I did heavily struggle with and kind of struggle with to this day. But I'm here to teach you about it and teach you how to overcome such things. Alright, cool. But firstly, before I even get into telling you about what sexual immorality even is, I just want to talk about my own experiences. So cool. Before I gave my life to Christ, well, I was a very immoral person when it came to sexual things, if that's what I'd say. I would take part in a lot of immoral acts, actually. Free naming, and I would actually fornication. Don't want to go into too much details, but cool. There's fornication. There is masturbation. That's a big one. There's yeah, you know, a lot of people, whether they like to admit or not, they did go through that. Just in general, you know, I had a problem with women. I just loved women too much, to the point it was destructive, man. To the point it was destructive. Now, obviously, I know in the society that we live in today, it is most definitely preached that, yeah, you should love women, everything you should do should be aiming, or with the aim of trying to get the most girls you want. You should be sleeping with the most women you want. You should be doing X, Y, Z. It's women. Yeah, I understand that's the world we live in today. But I'm here to tell you that that is not what God tells us to do. That is not what He calls us to do. And by us practicing such things, such teachings, such false doctrines of this world, we are not following what Jesus Christ compels us to do. And for me, at first, obviously, because that's just all I knew before Christ, it was fun, you know. That's how sin is at first. Sin is very fun, it's pleasurable at first, but it then did get to a point where I get into situations where realistically I should have really never been in them situations, but because of sexual immorality, I did get to them places. Got into experiences that I didn't really want to get into. It led me down to a line of me doing things like adultery, just sleeping around the place, bro. Not sleeping, but just, you know, just being around a lot of women, man. Sexualizing them. The list goes on, man. The list goes on. And that just led to a cycle of me being in unhealthy relationships, which then led to breakups, really tough breakups. And over time, whether I like to admit or not, it did take a toll on me mentally. And I just didn't really heal from that, and carried that on to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one, to the next one, as we go on and go on and go on. It was a long cycle, bro. It's a long cycle. It just stacks up. And, you know, the more I actually reflect on these things, the more I actually get to the conclusion that most of my problems in life actually stemmed from lust, if I'm being quite honest with you. And obviously I've gotten to a point now, through the help of Christ, of course, to where I can actually look back and see, look, there was a problem in my life, and now I am healed by the grace of God, actually. So all praise to the Most High, always. But yeah, moving on now, time to tell you or teach you about sexual immorality. So quickly, just to start off with telling you what sexual immorality is actually. Sexual immorality broadly refers to any sexual activity or expression outside the boundaries of a traditional marriage between a man and a woman. And the key categories included in sexual immorality is fornication, adultery, incest, homosexual intercourse, bestiality and prostitution, and lustful intent. And this sin is really dangerous, and it's really emphasized in the Bible. are told to flee, not fight, but flee from sexual immorality. As it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, where it says, flee sexual immorality. Every sin that a man does is outside the body, but he who commits sexual immorality sins against his body. So the Bible is literally telling us that sexual immorality is the only sin that a person does that really goes against his own body. And you may be wondering what causes people to partake in sexual immorality. And I'm here to tell you that the one thing that causes people to partake in sexual immorality is lust. And lust is essentially the deep and intense desire or craving of something that God forbids or goes against God's original purpose for us. And yes, a very big association with lust is sexual sin, but it can also be applied to almost anything, man. Lust for wealth, lust for food, etc., man. It's just really just an intense, burning desire for things not of God. Do you get it? It's just a perverted version of love, essentially what is lust, actually. And the reason why Jesus actually wants you to abstain from partaking in sexual immorality and fleeing from lust is because when you do give in to lust and you do things like sexual immorality, the relationships that you build are not relationships of God, because you build that relationship with the foundation of something sinful that is not of God. So in other words, you've essentially just built a worldly, secular relationship. And it even says in 1 John chapter 2, verse 16, it says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And literally, the next verse, verse 17, it says, and the world is passing away, and the lust of it, but he who does the will of God abides forever. So really connecting all this together, God is saying, when you build a relationship of the world, or a worldly relationship in other words, that thing is temporary. It has no everlasting meaning to it, because we already know the world is fading. It will cease to exist soon. It's temporary. But God is eternal. So when we build worldly relationships, don't expect that relationship to be eternal, be there forever. It's a temporary thing. It just leads to nothing, basically. Whereas if you abstain from sexual morality and do things the way God intended for us to do, which is out of love, not lust, you then build a relationship, or relationships that are eternal, eternal in God, because that relationship is Christ-centered. Thing I did actually forget to mention is that the way God intended things to be with us in terms of relationships is for it to be through marriage. So sex should be after marriage, no premarital sex. Anything regarding like sexual things, for that matter, should be done in the midst of marriage. That's how God intended things for us to be. That's what I actually forgot to say. But yeah. And, I understand it's a very hard pill to swallow, man. It's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's just hard to get rid of, I was stuck under it for a very long time. I can understand, but it genuinely is just leads to nothing but destruction. Sin leads to nothing but death. Whether or not it feels good now, you will soon see later. You will soon see that it's just led to death, destruction. No good fruit was produced from that. Now, you may be wondering, well, Jalen, how do I flee from lust, per se? Well, the answer is actually in Galatians chapter 5, verse 16, where it does say, I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Boom, that is your answer, walk in the Spirit. And again, you might be thinking, what does it mean to walk in the Spirit? Well, I'm here to teach you. Walking in the Spirit is staying, or in other words, walking with Christ. So that just means staying in your word daily, praying consistently and daily, fasting consistently as well, doing all those things, hence walking by the Spirit. And to put it plainly, just following Jesus Christ. Because when you set your eyes on Jesus Christ and look onto him, everything else is added onto you. As it is said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, where it is said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you." So the context of this verse is Jesus basically affirming that once you seek first the kingdom of God, or in other words, once you just follow Jesus, everything shall be added unto you. Everything you worry about, whether it's not sinning anymore, that's the main one. When you focus on Jesus and you're in his holy presence, you can't sin anymore since you are righteous. You are made righteous through Jesus. Do you get? So once you are holy, you can't sin anymore. So you don't have to worry about, struggling with one sin. That's gone. And then you also pick up the desires of a new heart, a heart that is of Jesus. So things that Jesus liked doing, which is like spreading the gospel, his love for others, his kindness, all these characteristics of Jesus. Once you start to follow Jesus and seek him, you'll gain a new heart and a new understanding, and an understanding of like Jesus Christ himself, and everything just falls into place. So yeah, my main advice to staying away from sexual immorality and lust and any sin in general is to follow or focus on Jesus himself, and everything shall be added onto you. Now that's my main advice. Now in terms of lust, there are also secondary advices that I could give you, stuff that could help you. And by all means, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say at all. I'm sorry. It's gonna take discipline for you to really uphold these rules of which I'm giving to you. But it will be easy if you do have brethren around you that can help you, as iron sharpens iron. That's what fellowship is for, and why fellowship is required. What I done, which very much helped me, was one, I stayed away from certain women that I knew sort of liked me, and I knew didn't really want thinking platonic with me, innit? So you're gonna think, oh, I don't know who that is. You know who that is. When you speak to women, you understand when women want to keep things platonic and when they don't. So cool. What I done, whenever I had to speak to them, I kept it short and sweet, so nothing could really progress from that, or I just stayed far away from them, because although I might not like them, they don't want to keep things platonic with me. So if I start to entice them, entertain them, you know how lust is. You can't fight lust, so it will just creep up on you, and then boom, it's got you in the snares. You're cooked, and just like that, you fall in again. So that is one, really being picky with the type of women that you do talk to and that you are around. Cool. Now my second advice is, this is not just with women, but just in terms of, let's say, masturbation. If let's say at a certain time, let's say any time past, let's even be crazy, let's say 10 p.m., any time past 10 p.m. If you know yourself, any time past 10 p.m. when you are texting or even on the phone with a girl, any time past 10 p.m. is when you'll start to just act a fool, and you just know yourself. After 10 p.m, what you need to do, turn off your phone, or just not allow yourself to text any other girl. As soon as you see a girl text you, it sounds harsh, but bro, don't even respond to it. Wait until the morning to respond to them, because I promise you, if you're noticing a pattern of where it's only past 10 p.m, that's when you go crazy with women, or just in terms of your right hand. But yeah, if you notice after a certain time that's what happens, you really have to limit interacting with those certain things past that time. Just go to sleep or just read your word past 10 p.m. That's another way that will help you. So that's two things. And the very big one is also one of the hardest ones. If you know you are struggling with lust and sexual immorality, and you are talking or even have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, you need to cut that off. Now, yes, you could have a talk with your significant other and be like, yeah, we need to be celibate, this, that. But Like, if you're already in that, environment where you guys are partaking in sexual sin, almost every time you see each other, it's like when you want to switch up, 9 out of 10, you're not going to want to switch up. So it's going to be you're trying to stay celibate, but she's not. So she knows how to tease you, X, Y, Z. And whenever you're with her, she will do them things and you're cooked because we're told to flee, not fight. So you even being there with her, you've just left it to you having to fight it, and that is losing battle. But, no, but it is a difficult one, obviously. I can understand how feelings and emotions will get in the way. Obviously, I'm not telling you to do things that I've never done. I promise you I've done this myself, even though I don't want to. But, hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do for Christ, man. But, yeah, you gotta cut off with the other because even you yourself now, you know you're struggling with lust, so you already know deep down that you're not ready to be in a relationship with another person. Like, especially if you're a guy. As a guy, you're supposed to be leading your woman spiritually. And if you are here, giving into lust, lust of the flesh, things of that nature, you're not really in the right place to be leading another woman spiritually. If anything, you're just going to cook them and get them further away from God. And that in itself is a whole issue. If you're really pulling other people away from God, not just yourself. He doesn't like that at all. I'm being a creator honest with you. But yeah, like, I still stand by what I said, but if you really need confirmation, like, if you're thinking, yeah, should I cut it off with this certain person? Honestly, bro, just ask God with these type of things. Just ask God, pray to him consistently, ask him what you think, what he thinks that you should do. Yeah. But that is my third advice to you, honestly. But like, yeah, just to summarize, first one, focus on Jesus, so all things will be added on to you. Second one, if you know after a certain time you start to lose all logic and start becoming something else, don't even conversate with another female until that time is over, until the next day is arrived. The third one, if you have a significant other or you're even in talks with another person, cut that off. Yeah, those are my 3 points, It's hard to do, but when you do it and you really do focus on Jesus and let Jesus work through you and, be your comfort, the one that makes you feel safe, the one that makes you happy, the one that provides for you, when you let Jesus be all those things that he really wants to be for you, you will look back and be like, I'm so glad that I done what I done and I was obedient to the Lord. But yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say so far, honestly. That's it for the video, more videos should be coming out soon, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired, man. I don't know if you can tell, but it's even 3:50 right now. I need sleep, bro. But anyways, man. Yeah, man. That's it. Good night.